Hey folks, Original Leadership, episode 3, here we go. So today we're talking about a very important topic. It's foundational to what we're doing. It's our core values, right? We've got a lot of values that we espouse, but you really try to distill it down to these core values because we want to give you clarity on what does it mean to be part of, the OrigiNation, the community around Original Leadership. And so we want to let you know what those are so you can understand, are these the kinds of things I want to espouse? Do I already espouse them? And if either of those are true, hey, come on in, because we're going to be constantly pursuing a better expression of those core values in ourselves and in others in the community. And so we're going to be challenging each other on those grounds, right? So let me go through the core values and it'll help you understand, is this for me or not, right? So let's start with original alignment. So there are some people that view life like they are on a ship and they got that spyglass up and they're looking out in front of them where they're headed and where should they go next, right? And that's not how we think. We actually think of ourselves like we're sitting in a rowboat. And what are you doing in a rowboat? But you look backwards. You look from where you came, right? And you know you're going in the right direction because of where you came from. And as long as you're in alignment with your source, you're going in the right direction, right? I tell people I want everyone to be successful, but the problem is the definition of success is so fluid and flexible in most people's minds that it's not a true north. It's not something that's actually solid. And so as I ask those questions, I realize that you got to know the purpose of a thing in order to know whether it's successful, right? And in order to know its purpose, you got to know what it is. You got to know its identity. You got to be able to identify it, right? But then at the very deepest level, to know what the identity of a thing is, you got to go all the way back to where it came from, right? It's kind of like, I use a fork analogy a lot. You might have seen it. But it's like, to know if a fork's successful, does it take food and put it in your mouth? Okay, then it's successful. Well, how did you know that? Well, because it's the purpose of the fork, right? But how did you know the purpose of the fork? Well, because you can identify it. It's a fork. But how do you know it's a fork? And that's where it really the rub, shows up. Because they go, well, I was taught that. Well, who taught them? Well, their teachers. And their teachers taught their teachers, and the teachers taught the teachers, and teachers. And you go back and back and back and back until what? You get to the beginning. Where did the fork begin? It was some guy or gal that fashioned this thing with some tines and said, this is a fork and its purpose is to take food and put it in your mouth, right? The source, the origin of a thing is the authority on its identity and purpose, and therefore the definition of its success, right? So if I want people to be successful, if I want to be successful myself, I got to look backwards, right? Like that guy in the rowboat. I got to know that I'm in alignment with where I come from in order to know if I am successful. For me, as a Christian, that informs that whole worldview. That is not my purpose in Original Leadership in order to cram any worldview down your throat, right? But rather to give you the questions that you got to wrestle with, and that I believe every person has to wrestle with if they really truly want to be grounded and rooted in something solid, right? So that's very important. We call that the cornerstone value because it holds everything else in alignment, is that original alignment, right? So then I'll talk about powerful living. That's another one. So we'll talk about that freedom thing, right? We're all free to choose. And because we are free to choose, that makes us powerful, right? But it also makes us responsible. And that word responsible, I kind of unpack it and I say it's able to respond well, right? So actually pivoting from my Christian worldview, I was walking through Target one day and it seemed like a random day. And I was walking along and something suddenly triggered for me in really bringing more to life what I believe about my origin, what I believe about God, is that I'm adopted by him, right? And he's called the King of Kings, right, in the Christian worldview. And so if I'm the son of the King of Kings, that makes me a prince. And if I was the prince of the King of Kings, how would I walk differently? How would I operate differently, right? How would I speak differently? How would I view others differently than I do, right? And I suddenly felt so different, right? Because I was repositioning more into alignment with my origin, right? And the key there is part of powerful living, and because we're free to choose, we are free to be dissonant with the culture around us. We are free to be different than other people. We are free to be, not homogenous with the rest of everybody. Because there's this massive cultural drive to be like everyone else, right? You see it in the fashion industry. It's like, whoa, those really confident people are dressed like this, so I want to dress like that too, right? I need to look like they look, or they're, whoa, that person up on stage is, they are so cool and awesome and famous, and they really got something going on that I don't feel. They have this confidence that I don't personally feel, so I want to be like them, right? There's this drive to mimic, to copy, and powerful living, that freedom to choose. When it's rooted in that original alignment, it gives you the freedom to be dissonant in this amazing way where you get to boldly express who you are, no matter whether it lines up or not with those around you. And it just is what it is. And people can take it or leave it. And that can get you in hairy, sticky situations, but it's like, hey, this is the best you have right now. This is where you're at. And there's something liberating about that. That's powerful living, right? So another core value is real relationship. It's something we already demonstrated in episode 2. Hey, we want to show you what's going on behind the scenes, right? We want to show you what's the ugliness along with everything else, the imperfections, because that's so important for us to create a culture of vulnerability where we all feel safe to just be honest about it. Hey, we don't have it all together. We're still figuring this thing out. And as soon as we feel like we got something figured out, there's something new that we're trying to figure out, right? So I'll be sharing stories about how I personally have experienced that in my life, because there's a long string of stories. But I used to have the problem of being stuck in my head, right? And everything I did was managing with my mind, because I've got a strong mind, and so I can just kind of manage everything. And the idea of having a heart-to-heart relationship with another person was foreign to me, right? I wasn't connected with my own heart, and so connecting with other people at a heart level was impossible, right? And so I went through some experiences I was at this retreat, and I remember this key moment where I kept on trying to figure things out about what is going on. There's something not right in here, right? Something I can't connect with other people on this level, and they're all so good at it. What's going on, And I remember this breakthrough moment, and after that breakthrough moment, this guy that had been walking with me through this, he said, I'm gonna swear here. I hope you're all okay with that. But he said, Kurt, at the beginning here, I thought you were a real asshole. and it was just that breakthrough for me of whoa, when you get to the other side and actually kind of have a real relationship with people, you get to see their hearts because they can see yours, right? That's real relationship. That was a pivotal moment for me where it was exciting for me and scary, let's be honest, but it was exciting for me to okay, there's more here that we can have. That's the kind of relationship we want with other people, but we got to learn how to steward others' hearts in order for them to entrust those hearts to us, and we got to learn how to express our own hearts to them, right? So there's a lot of learning there, but that's what we want. That's on the journey that we're on. We're constantly learning more about that. We've got a lot that we've gained on this journey, and so there's a lot we can offer on that front. So that's real relationship. That's what we're after with that. And then there's honor. Honor is simply ascribing accurate value to a thing, right? When you honor a credit card or a check, you're saying, I trust the value of this thing. I'm ascribing the value you've put on this thing, right? So we believe, I believe from my own worldview that people have tremendous value, that they're deeply valuable. And so in order to honor another person is to treat them as very valuable. I believe that people are powerful, right? They're designed to be able to choose and be powerful. Therefore, I treat them as powerful people. I engage with them as powerful people. And that honorable engagement is something that we always want to keep on, even when people dishonor us and don't treat us as valuable. I will still honor you, even if you dishonor me, right? And so that looks different in different circumstances, but that at a base level is what we're after with that honor, right? Honor in all things. And then finally, coherent team. This idea of coherence is just when things stick together, right? When they're united, right? We're after coherent team. We believe there's a team in self, right? Inside of ourselves, we have that team. That's why we need to learn to lead this team first. And we want coherence within our own selves. The whole self united together on the same page, moving together in the same direction. That is a powerful place to be. And there's just so much incoherence that happens inside of us. And so being able to identify that incoherence, get to the root of it, and then respond and bring the whole self back into coherence is so important in being powerful and effective. And then whenever you graduate, now you're leading others, now you got to do that, right? That coherence where the whole team is working together And this is something that I have just done so badly, right, in my journey. And it's taken a lot of learning, a lot of growth to get to even, what I consider a journeyman kind of position, where I feel like I'm at right now, still working on mastering. But there's been so many mistakes that have been made along the way where I accidentally drove incoherence, a lot of times just through my zeal for excellence. Like, it's got to be great. Everything has to be great. And whenever there's a mistake, I'm like, that is not okay, right? Sending that message made everyone like afraid, and everyone starts protecting themselves, and that creates incoherence, right? And so that's an example of when you're leading others. We want to create that coherence there. What I've discovered is that when you get really good at creating coherence inside your own self, you have a lot of the skills you need in order to create coherence when you lead others as well. So that's Coherent Team. If we can operate coherently as a team, and we're operating in honor towards each other, we're engaging in real relationship with one another, we're living powerfully according to our understanding of who we are, free to choose and to be different than other people, and that's okay. And we're doing all of that in alignment with our best understanding of where we come from. That is this consummate vision of what's at the roots of original leadership. And like I said, that's a great opportunity for you to evaluate, does that taste good to me? Do I want more of that? Do I espouse that? Does that resonate something inside of me? Then you belong here. You're part of our community in a kind of at a spiritual level. Come on in. Let's do this. And even if it's like, I want those things, but I know I'm still struggling, hey, no problem. We're all still struggling, right? Nobody's arrived here. And so come on in. Let's do this together. We can challenge each other and we'll get better together. But those are the roots. If that doesn't work for you and you're like, sounds kind of bad, hey, no problem. This isn't the community for you. But if it is, welcome. We need you.